have this, these. I'll love it.
In the land of Hyrcania during the Hyborian Age, the people lived as one with the goddess of the earth. Peace and harmony ruled the day until the barbarian king Anzus wandered the land, spreading evil and ruin. Children laughed and played while elders held conversations. But everything stopped when a thunderous noise blasted across the fields. Panic erupted as men and women ran for safety, and the figure behind the attack revealed himself in rage. The red-haired warrior calmed her companion Vihur, assuring the beast it was only a bad dream, and reminded it that their path lay westward. She thanked the forest, bidding it farewell, then prayed to the goddess Ashera for guidance to reunite with her kin. The duo share a natural bond. With a playful nudge, the animal pushes her forward, and together...
Oh, stop it.
Moments later, she spots soldiers and quickly conceals herself. When she emerges again, she discovers a wounded creature and once more lifts her voice to Ashera, asking for strength to hunt down those who cause such cruelty. Further along the trail, she dismounts and tells her steed the road ended there, for she would march to war alone. Yet the loyal beast refuses to turn back, trailing her faithfully. From a ridge, she observes guards forcing a wild creature into an iron cage, an act that fills her with fury. Soon after, voices announce the Emperor's arrival, and indeed, he advances with a legion at his side. A lanky youth steps forth, greeted by kneeling crowds. Though he cared little for ceremony, he demands progress.
Down on your knees! We have prepared a feast in your honor.
Progress first, feast later.
Commander Artron delivers his report, but the ruler dismisses it as inadequate, even questioning whether his machines functioned properly. The officer insisted they did and vowed to achieve better results. As the Emperor struts forward, he notices the Tyrann king chained behind bars, and it looks like he's about to enjoy a fine day. He recalls the time the captive spat on him years ago, but this is not the moment for revenge, so he stays focused on his mission. The land of Tyrann may hold the legendary Book of Secrets, and he intends to claim it. The Slave King warns him that in trying to rule the world, he must not provoke the gods, but the young ruler scoffs at such talk.
I will defeat your god. Do you want to know how? It's knowledge that allows me to control the world, that brings civilization to the barbarians. Have any of your gods ever done that?
No.
No! Why? Because your gods are not real, and I am the future!
He boasts that he is doing more for the barbarians than their dead gods ever did, bringing them civilization, and declares himself the future. General Karlach stands at attention, ready to carry out his master's command. The guards drag the king aside and mock him before... At that moment, Sonja appears. Before the two soldiers can gloat about their kill and taunt her, she drives a blade into one stomach, then, as if in a trance, plunges it into the other as well. She moves to break the cage, but a pale swordswoman steps out, blade drawn at her back. The woman in white warns that Dragon, who rules all alone, owns every land under the sky, and nothing can be stolen from him. She sneers at how the Red One has managed to survive in a forest already declared unfit for life. Without another word, the pale warrior strikes, and steel clashes. Though the forest fighter blocks and counters, the Emperor's right hand soon overwhelms her, knocking her sword to the ground. Pinned low, Sonja seizes her chance, kicking her foe back and rising to her feet. Their duel is clumsy at moments, more clang than finesse. And the pale warrior even calls it dull. Yet, momentum shifts. The forest woman forces her rival down, seizing her by the neck and squeezing hard. Watching, the Emperor steps closer, clapping in awe of the spectacle. Suddenly, cavalry bursts onto the scene. As Vihur races toward his companion, Karlach lands a heavy blow that sends the warrior crashing into unconsciousness. At the Emperor's residence, the forest woman is bound to a chair while he questions her about her people and her origin, but she remains silent. He circles her, ranting about the Hyrcanian line, even cutting her skin to provoke a response. As he turns to leave, the captive slips one arm free, grabs his robe, and hurls him to the ground. He dismisses the outburst as nothing and stops Anisia from interfering. With a sneer, he declares she will be thrown among the damnati, where she can prove her worth in the arena. Dragged out in chains and locked inside a cage, she sinks into memory. Her homeland under siege, her people slaughtered, others taken captive. She sees her mother begging her to take the children and flee with the survivors. The caravan halts where other captives are held. Spotting soldiers manhandling her horse, she breaks free with sheer strength, pummeling one guard repeatedly until reinforcements overwhelm her and force her into another cage. Her mind drifts again. And this time, she relives the moment her mother is struck down. Reality intrudes when a woman shakes her awake. In her daze, she sees her mother's face and hears her voice urging her to rise and fulfill her purpose. But when her vision clears, it is only an old crone. Enraged, she seizes the woman by the throat and drags her into the open. Yet no one intervenes. This is the Damnati pit, where life has no value. A fellow prisoner even advises her to save her thirst for death until the ring, where at least the crowd will applaud her end. The captain strolls over, disarms her with ease, and orders her to claim a bed. She obeys, settling in while the other prisoners brawl and jeer, with Petra standing defiantly at the center. Crudellis, the Emperor's right hand, wonders aloud why his master is so obsessed with obtaining the other half of the Book of Secrets, willing to spend a lifetime chasing it. The young monarch replies that he needs it to finish the life story he is writing about himself. With the knowledge contained in the missing half, he says,
"It's a prophecy about me. I am that child. And in the missing pages of this will be knowledge that even I can't imagine."
He will change the world, shape the future to his design, and seize control of all that lies ahead. He is resolute, and nothing will sway him. Meanwhile, at the pit, the forest warrior scales the stone walls in a desperate attempt to escape. The other prisoners mutter among themselves, knowing many before her have tried and failed. Against the odds, she reaches the top, only to face a squad of soldiers. She cuts down the first two, but the rest overwhelm her, dragging her back into the depths. The captives watch, half impressed, half mocking, laughing at her failure. Back inside, they tell her there is only one path to freedom: victory in the arena. They point to the white-haired woman, now in the king's favor, as proof. Anisia herself is notorious, known for speaking aloud when alone, actually being haunted by voices. Some whisper she is mad. Others believe the spirits of those she killed fill her head with words. Her time in the pit was savage. She once crushed every opponent there, even one still locked inside with them. Sonja resolves that the next time they meet, she will not lose. Elsewhere, the Emperor enters Anisia's chamber just after she drains a vial. He asks why she is not prepared for the banquet, and she claims illness.
Don't you want to stay here? Spend some time together?
We're always together.
You know what I mean. Why have we never shared a bed?
Why she still feels like a slave despite her freedom. He reminds her that he too was once enslaved, but insists she must first be made whole. The voices in her head, he says, are real, and as he promised, he will find a cure. Until then, the vials serve as a temporary salve, silencing the torment for a moment. Back in the pit, training begins. The red-haired fighter wonders aloud what they will be forced to battle. Petra answers coldly. Anything. Barbarians, beasts, or even their own. She scoffs that with the newcomer's attitude, she will not survive a week in this place. The arena is packed, the crowd roaring as the first duel ends with one man standing victorious. More prisoners are readied for combat while blood continues to stain the sand. The warrior makes her way to the armory to choose weapons and armor, but the captain intercepts her with a smirk. Instead of steel, he hands her a wooden sword and shield, along with a skimpy set of shining bra and undergarments. The outfit offers no protection, but he knows the people will relish the spectacle. Cheers rise as she makes a dramatic entrance into the Colosseum. She takes her place beside Petra, who scoffs at her appearance before warning her to focus on whatever is about to emerge from the pit. Then comes the signal that the two must fight each other. Petra accepts it as part of survival, but the forest woman hurls her wooden arms aside, declaring she will not fight a fellow prisoner. Instead, she demands combat with the Emperor himself. The crowd erupts in approval. In response, a royal guard sets loose an arrow that buries itself in Petra's throat. She collapses instantly, blood pouring from her mouth. Sonja rushes to her side, cradling her, whispering an apology for being part of her end. As soldiers charge into the ring, she seizes Petra's fallen blade, hacks through the first attacker's leg. Two more rush her, and with two swift swings, she pierces their bellies. The wounded stagger, but she shows no mercy, driving the blade into them again and again until life drains from their bodies. Back in the pit, she presses Petra's neckpiece into Hawk's hand, the grieving lover of the fallen slave. Together, they lead a small memorial, honoring Petra's memory in the only way the captives can. Credulous guides the Emperor through his latest invention, the forest and the great yoke. Though still unfinished, he assures it will soon be perfected. The monarch, however, is certain that once he claims the missing half of the Book of Secrets, everything will fall into place. Back at the pit, Dyax questions the red-haired woman about how she knew the memorial song. In their talk, he learns she survived Anzus's raid, but has not seen her people in years, wandering the wilderness alone. Dyax then tells her others of her kind are hidden deep in the forest. For her, that revelation means escape must come soon. Summoned to the palace, she finds herself once again in the presence of the Emperor. Though Anesia bristles at her being there, the ruler insists, wanting to reveal his plans to seize the forest and every land still beyond his grasp. He boasts that with the book, which contains the knowledge of all gods, his conquest is inevitable. At the sight of it, memories stir within her, recalling how her people once guarded the tome. That night, the dream returns as a vision warning that the book must be protected, but that protection comes with someone's death. She wakes with resolve. The moment to act is now. The next day's combat is chaos, the arena drowned in blood, as fighters clash with a small army. The captain strides to the pit's corner, selecting names, including Dyax, but before he can be taken, the forest warrior whispers to another fighter, ensuring Dyax survives for reasons only she knows. Then she confronts the captain directly, forcing him to arm her and send her into the melee. As she charges into battle, the Emperor gives a chilling order. His own guards are to be shot down rather than face her. Shocked, she demands to know why she is being denied a true fight. The ruler answers her purpose is not victory in the arena, but to draw out the last of her kin. The Emperor has other plans. He orders all pit dwellers into the arena and demands that the forest woman reveal the location of the last of her kind, threatening the lives of every damnation if she refuses. To push her further, he releases the Cyclop, the one-eyed beast, into the arena. Fear surges through the fighters as the Emperor uses the yoke in his hand to control it. The creature charges, blasting through the arena, knocking some away as the crowd cheers wildly. The determined warrior notices a control switch on the Cyclops' back. She finds a way to reach it and pulls it. The beast, enraged, swings at her, nearly crushing her head but missing by inches. She appeals to the Cyclops, showing she is not the enemy, and the creature turns its fury on the spectators above, causing havoc in the Emperor's area. With the outer area now open, she urges the pit dwellers to escape and claim their freedom, but she wants to settle scores first. She storms into the castle, seeking Vihur, the first soldier who dares tease her ends at the sharp edge of her sword. More soldiers rush her way, but she reacts swiftly, slicing one and punching another in the face. Two more advance. She impales one and leaps onto the other, driving him to the ground before plunging her dagger into the standing soldier's stomach. She enters the next hall, the lab, commanding everyone to leave. As she searches, she finds her horse and is overcome with emotion, checking to see if it is hurt. Then, her eyes fall on the orb and a thought strikes her. She turns and hurls spears into it. The orb shatters with a rumble that shakes the building's foundation and sends a blast through the hall. The Emperor and his men notice the rumbling and fear the damage Sonja has caused. The lab burns to the ground, flames consuming almost all of his life's work. The Emperor is devastated. Credulous, his right-hand man, lies on the floor, a shot to his head ending him, breaking the Emperor further. One thing is certain to him. This destruction is the work of the forest woman. Anesia is sure she slipped into the forest to find her people. The fighter rides her horse gallantly toward the freed slaves who cheer at her arrival. They gather, exchanging introductions introductions and learn that Osen is the Prince of Shem. He tells everyone they are equals and that no one must bow to another. Though he wishes he could fight alongside them, he must return to rule his people. They share a heartfelt moment, hugging and exchanging a peck before he rides off, promising to return as soon as he can. As the group tends to the wounded, a rider arrives carrying a heavily injured man. He explains the guard was part of a scout party that was caught. The warrior questions him, and he reveals that the Emperor is close behind and will soon overtake them. Sonja promises to end him first. One of the freedmen suggests setting up camp and resisting the Emperor's army, but she shakes her head that it's too exposed and vulnerable. Dax urges her to return to her people, but she knows doing so would only lead the Emperor to them. She decides to stay behind. Turning to the others, she instructs them to go their separate ways, warning them to avoid the danger that awaits her, death. The team pledges their loyalty to the cause, caring little for how it will end. They know everyone eventually meets death. They only wish to die a just death for a noble purpose. The Emperor and his men gather to plan. News reaches them that the damnations are numerous, but the army believes defeating them will be easy. Anisha urges the Emperor to use brute force to crush the freed slaves before rumors spread that he cannot control them, an admission of weakness. The ruler snaps, declaring he has no weakness, unlike the white-haired woman who depends on medicine to stay sane. Realizing his outburst, he quickly apologizes, but she, understanding her place, instead offers her own apology while flattering his ego, assuring him he will conquer and rule all lands. The Red Devil appears, delivering a grim message. He hurls the head of a fallen soldier toward them, mocking them to send more. The Emperor presents a package for her as well, Dax's head. She takes the news grimly, knowing that war is imminent. The Red Devil reunites with fellow Hyrcanians and meets Hespera, who recognizes him from childhood. She recounts the events when Anzus attacked. After the warlord tried to seize the book, the priest safeguarded it at the cost of his life. During the chaos, the book tore in two, one half to Hespera, the other to a young Hyrcanian boy who hid in the temple, Dragon. Obsessed with his half, he grows in knowledge and cunning over time. It amazes her that the boy who was once a slave has become the feared emperor. The forest people regroup, mapping a plan for Dragon and his forces as they march from the gates armed with weapons of mass destruction. They load their machines with armor and ignite fires in the underbrush to raise the forest. Then they sprint toward the enemy, ready to strike. They lay an ambush for the foot soldiers, some hiding behind trees, while others lie on the ground, covering themselves with leaves for camouflage. When the time is right, the freed slaves attack at once, revealing themselves from behind trees and underground, cutting down a few enemies with swords and arrows. Two soldiers take on several men single-handedly, while the strong lady unleashes her bow and arrows on the rushing soldiers. They almost jump her, but as they lift themselves into the air, her arrow finds its mark, ending their lives. The team clears out the front men and then runs deeper into the forest, leading the enemy further inside. The white-haired lady appears, and the moment she alights from her horse, she hears voices urging her to kill the feisty lady. Her first swing of the sword is dodged, and a full-blown duel erupts between the two women. They block each other's strikes with incredible skill. Anisha grabs hold of Sonja's sword, drives it into the ground to pin it, and then slashes with her own sword, cutting through the Red Devil's stomach. The Red Devil lets out a loud, piercing scream, while Karlach and Hawk square off. The funny-faced giant threatens Hawk that he will send him to go see the love if his life. Meanwhile, Anisha maintains the upper hand, striking the Red Devil's stomach again. She deftly dodges the white-haired lady's counter-strike and lands a blow to her face. Karlach and Hawk's fight quickly turns into a fist fight. Hawk doesn't shy away from punching the half-beast even as he takes several hits in return. Hawk's strength isn't enough to overcome the giant. Karlach stabs him in the neck with a thick dagger. Hawk struggles for life, but Karlach then takes his sword and drives it through him, securing his death. Anisha finally finds a way around the forest lady and drives her sword into her stomach. She whispers in her ear that she'll be empress once she delivers Sonja's head to the emperor. As she swings her sword to cut off the head, Vihor runs by and slams into the enemy, sending her flying. The horse returns, helps its master onto its back, and carries her away. They reach the river filled with rocks and statues, and after a moment, Sonja sees her mother, who speaks to her consciousness, telling her she is destined for something great. Sonja feels sad that she has been offering prayers without answers, but the truth is, she has been praying the wrong way. Earlier, she had said she would rather live to find fulfillment, so her mother, now appearing in physical form, pulls her deep into the bloodied water. She reminds her daughter that the whole world is relying relying on her for saving. She urges her to shed her old self and step fully into her predestination. The Emperor makes the captured slave kneel before him. He pulls out Hespera, and he remembers her as the woman who abandoned him when Anzus attacked, though he insists that boy is long gone. The woman remembers too, even calling his former name, which enrages him and earns her a slap across the face. She insists she never abandoned him, but he forces her to repeat it directly to him, as if seeking some twisted redemption. He checks her bag and finds the other half of the book, the piece he needs to complete his plan. He thanks her and walks away, but orders Archran to take her life. But the guard refuses, saying he cannot kill a holy woman. When the Emperor moves to do it himself, an arrow suddenly flies in, striking a guard dead and throwing the camp into alarm. It's the Red Devil, and as she rides forward on her horse, the Emperor wonders how someone Anisia had claimed to have killed is alive and charging at him. Before long, she is joined by Osen and an army behind him, and together they strike at once, forcing the Emperor to flee. The two half-humans from both sides clash in a brutal fight, and the one on Sonja's side overpowers the enemy, even tearing into his neck with a bite. The fighter still carries a grudge against the Prince of Shem for abandoning them, but at least he has returned now, and this time with an army. Meanwhile, the feisty lady has finished the guards outside, sending his sword into the last of them. While the Empress and her right-hand woman argue about how the lady is still alive, the resurrected warrior makes her way onto the roof of the castle. The first two guards rush at her, but she meets them with ease, striking swiftly and stabbing them down without hesitation. More soldiers arrive, eager to bring her down, but her skill with the bow overwhelms them. She looses arrows in quick succession, sometimes more than one at a time, cutting through their numbers in seconds. As the fight closes in, she drops the bow and draws her sword, carving through the remaining men with relentless precision. Inside, the Emperor merges the two halves of the book and discovers the missing section is about healing. He flips through the pages, scoffs at its uselessness, and casts it aside. Desperate, he turns to Anisia, begging her to face the warrior, wreaking havoc outside, but she refuses. He lowers himself to his knees, pleading still, but she does not move. His voice hardens as he spits the word coward. The voices in Anisia's head rise up, echoing his words, taunting that she will never be empress. The Emperor repeats them aloud, making it clear he knows exactly what haunts her. She realizes the truth, that he planted the voices himself, using potions to twist her mind and keep her chained. He never meant to share his throne. The air turns sharp with tension. Both draw their daggers slowly, almost playfully. Then, as if in grim accord, they drive the blades into their own stomachs at the same time. Blood fills their mouths as they collapse together, their foreheads touching in death's embrace. The ruler manages to escape with the help of his horse, riding all the way to the place of the gods. The female soldier tracks him down, and while he pores over the Book of Secrets, she questions his ways. She asks why he destroyed cities and took people as slaves for a quest that has no true meaning in the long run. He answers that he was trying to liberate the world, but she knows that is a lie. He insists the gods abandoned him when he needed them most, pointing back to the day Anzus attacked and left them homeless. But she rejects that excuse. She was there too when Anzus struck, and suffering does not justify tyranny. She admits that sometimes she wonders if things might have been different had she held on to the little boy during Anzus's attack. Now, with the ruler dying, she tells him that the afterlife is peaceful. With fading strength, he begs her not to let him go this time. She sits by his side, takes his hand, and stays with him until the end. Back at the Hyrcanian camp, Red Sonja returns carrying the Emperor's body. When the others ask why she did not bury him where he fell, she explains that she wanted him laid to rest like a true Hyrcanian. She then shares her desire to travel the world to see what lies beyond their land. Still, she promises not to abandon them, vowing to return from time to time. She hopes that Prince Osen will prove to be a leader of truth and justice. Osen reminds her that he will be ready whenever she is ready to claim him fully. Much later, Sonja is drinking in a tavern with a blindfold over her eyes when he suddenly appears with a message.